Alright guys, it's your boy, Bad News Bears, and it's patch time. Let's jump into it. So, patch 0.3, the boys here, Revenant! The patch is coming out Tuesday, January the 24th, so we still got a few days. There's a couple things in this little intro that I want to talk about. I'm not too worried about reading off the whole thing. Actually, you know what? Get ready, folks. Predecessor's first major update of 2023 is nearly here, and with it comes some epic changes. We're set to issue patch version 0.3 this Tuesday, January 24th, and we're thrilled to share ahead of time everything you can expect to find in it. One of our main focuses for this patch is to empower mages. We want them to feel stronger before they even get their first item without changing their late game power. The goal here is to make playing mages more impactful and rewarding, especially in the early game. So I have read the patch notes already. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like they don't have the same power late game anymore. I feel like this is misleading. They definitely have more early power now, I will say that, based on what I've seen from the patch notes, but I'm not sure they're staying the same late game. I think they drop off a little bit. I could be wrong. But yeah, I agree. They should feel a little more impactful early. I feel like right now, especially if you're playing with people who know what they're doing, mid lane just kind of gets dunked on a lot of the time. Mages, I feel like in Predecessor it feels bad to have mages be this week early, but we're mitigating that, so that's great. But that's not all. We've got some great new game improvements coming your way with 2 new post-match screens and some weekly leaderboards for you to sink your teeth into. Let's not overlook the bounty hunter in the room. Revenant is finally here, so I want to talk about this as well. The 2 new post-match screens are very cool. I will be showing those off in a bit through the patch notes. And the weekly leaderboards is something that, again, we will see in a bit. I don't know how I feel about it. I get that we want a ranked mode. People are bitching and want a ranked mode. They want something to play for. This is a casual game. We're supposed to be having fun, trying stuff out, and this is what we have, like, the leagues and the tournaments that are all coming up for. Those are for your competitive fix. I think... Listen, a leaderboard has already gotten out there. People are finding it out without public API, and people are already being toxic about it. I just think this is another reason to be toxic. It does only show the top 100 every week, so... You know, I guess the top 100 that want to grind can grind, but then they think they're this higher echelon of player, while some of us are just having fun. It's interesting. I'm definitely going to be interested to see where I place each week. I'm going to hope I'll be top 100, but maybe all the sweats will come out now that this exists to flex. But it'll be interesting for me. And I got a lot of friends that play. A lot of people I know from previous games, Pokemon Unite or whatever. And now I've got, like, my new team that I might be on, so it'll be interesting to see where all they place too. I know some pretty high up people in Predecessor. Even if I myself would not be considered a high up player. Speaking of additions, we'd also slipped into a new mouse sensitivity setting. Be sure to tweak this to your liking ahead of your next game. Cool, more customization, great. But wait, there's more! Apparently Billy Mays wrote this. We're already hard at work on patch 0.4. We'll be making changes to ADC itemization, as well as improving ranged autos. Plus, you'll be thrilled to hear that we're working on adding our AI game mode. But more to that closer to the time. So, I was wrong, but also right. I told people that ADC items were going to be reworked in 0.3. I was wrong. They are not doing it till 0.4. But ADC items are getting reworked. This is something I asked for. This is something that needs to happen. ADCs feel very one-dimensional, aside from Murdoch. And, like, maybe mid-Drongo, but even he's, like, 1.5-dimensional. Murdoch is the only character that kind of breaks that, which I guess is 33% of the ADCs, but still, and even then, he's still building some overlapping items. And just, ADC items feel really bloated, but they also feel underwhelming early or something. It's weird. I don't know. They needed to be reworked for sure. The stat spreads on them were super jank. Last but not least, we're looking to make our update schedule more consistent. Going forward, we're aiming to deliver patches every 2 weeks, alternating between balance patches and our bigger content patches. This cadence might still change, but for now, our goal is to ensure a steady flow of content and improvements that you can more easily predict and plan around. So basically, what's going to happen is 2 weeks from now, give or take a couple days, we will get an update that is purely balanced, So hopefully like a steel nerf, you know, maybe Revenant's too OP, so Revenant will get nerfed. And then 2 weeks after that, we'll probably get some small balance changes. You know, maybe like a Gideon nerf there, a Gideon or a Fey buff there, who knows? But then we'll get like our content, so like our new game modes, our new characters. Which Shinbi is next, right? That's who's next. This is the beginning. This is just the beginning of what's to come in 2023. We can't wait for you to see what we have in store and hear your feedback. Get ready for an exciting year of updates and improvements. Blood Mortius, senior game designer. So thank you, Blood Mortius, who is also apparently Billy Mays reincarnated. Very cool. A new hero appears. I almost said approaches. The ritual has been performed, the payment has been taken, the fearsome bounty hunter has been awoken, determined to pursue and punish those responsible for the destruction of his homeland. Revenant's here. I had to cut a whole thing out, sorry. Revenant's here. The boy, the ADC that I played when I had to in Paragon. Revenant's ability is passive bounty hunter. Revenant starts with a rank in Hellfire rounds. He does not shoot faster with attack speed, but does gain, and this is where math gets complicated. Probably better to just read it than trying to figure out what I'm saying. But 5% plus 1.5% per level plus 0.1%, 1% critical strike chance, increased total physical power. When Revenant kills an enemy hero, he will gain 50 plus 25 per bounty stack additional gold. Good luck figuring that out if you don't know how the math works. It's a lot. Primary ability, or his Q, Obliterate. It's on a 12-second cooldown, going down to 8, costs 70 mana, just straight across the board. Effect, Revenant unleashes 10 ethereal missiles that home in and hit random targets within a wide cone, dealing 60, going up to 160, plus 50% bonus physical power, plus 75% magical power, so he does scale off both. Physical damage per missile. Landing subsequent hits against enemy heroes deals 15% damage, so he scales off both, but delivers it physical damage with the missiles. Yeah, I think I read the subsequent hits against enemy heroes deal 15%. Then we have his secondary ability, his E, which is called Scar. It starts at a 20-second cooldown, going down to 16, and costs 60, going up to 80. Effect, Revenant launches a dark projectile that marks the first enemy target it hits, dealing 10, going up to 70, plus 50% bonus physical power. Physical damage and a plus 50% bonus physical power, physical damage, and applying a scar that lasts for 5 seconds. The next 6 up to 10 instances of damage dealt to this target by Revenant applying a 5% stacking slow for 1.25 seconds and deal 15% bonus magic damage. I already hate reading off abilities because they just don't sound like I'm speaking English when it gets down to the numbers and then like saying physical power and then physical damage back to back. The Revenant is so bad for it. Alternate ability, or his right mouse button, Hellfire rounds. On a 2-second cooldown, cost 0. The effect, passive Revenant's 4th shot, always critically strikes, as well as dealing 6% plus 0.5 per Revenant's level of the target's missing health as bonus physical damage. Revenant's critical bonus damage is modified to 125, going up to 175%. Active, Revenant instantly reloads his hand cannon. Reload time is decreased with an additional attack speed. That was an easy one. His ultimate ability, or his R, Reckoning. The cooldown, 140 seconds, going down to 100, cost 100 at all levels. Effect, Revenant pulls himself and his target into the Netherrealm for 6 seconds, going up to 8 seconds, rooting the target for 0.5 seconds. Killing his opponent inside the Netherrealm will double the bonus gold gained from the Bounty Hunter, which is his passive, which is this. I'm glad his ultimate's the same. I'm glad he's the same. I think he's kind of really OP. Like, I think he's got too much. I'm curious to know how this is going to come into play with the magical power. Because it does still just deliver physical damage. So I don't know if people are going to actually build a magical power item. There might be something that's really good. I'll have to see, right? Major improvements. Profile tab and early access icons. Early access icons are here. You'll notice that there is a new profile tab on the top bar of the main menu. This is where you can change and display your profile icon with the initial selection available to you depending on which early access bundle you have. You might even spot a sneak peek at some profile related customization features that are coming in future updates. So right now we'll only have these 3 possible choices. And again, it's based off of what bundle you bought, so I will only have the purple one or the gold one. I think I'll only have the gold one, which is unfortunate because I would like the purple one. It's cool, I guess. It's just the start of a feature, right? They have the feature ready, but don't have the options, I guess, probably. So here's these. You also flex how much money you spent, I guess. But as you can see here, I don't know how well it's showing. It's going to show up in the video. But we have profile icons, borders, titles, and profile background, which I'm assuming would be like, right, you can see kind of in the back here that it's the Revenant. I'm assuming we'll be able to set this to different things, like the actual background when we're queuing. Borders, I think, are self-explanatory, and titles exist in Smite, and I'm assuming they'll work the same way, so it'll be like, The King, TTV / Bad News Bears, as my name in-game, I'm assuming. Huge thing, and I'm curious to see how impactful this will be. I mean, it'll be impactful regardless, but will it be too impactful? Creep score bounties. This patch will be introducing creep score bounties. These are designed to remove situations where teams are not rewarded enough gold when killing an enemy hero from a significant deficit. This is normally because the enemy heroes gain a significant amount of CS, or creep score, relative to your team's average. Before, we only accounted for heroes' kill streak in the bounty system. Now these enemy heroes will also increase the same bounty through the amount of creep score, CS, they have relative to your team. This will allow us to reward players that are significantly behind an economy for multiple sources to come back into the game through enemies' misplays. So this is interesting. I know, actually, there'll be a video coming up where I'm playing a game with Sanji, and he is a Gideon mirror. Sanji is very good at farming, and he gets ahead in that game just purely off of farming his brains out. But he picks up a few deaths in the game. If this patch is out, he is not nearly as far ahead as he was. So it'll be interesting. This hinders better players, which is fine. There should be it's a comeback mechanic, and now better players can't abuse the fact that CS bounties don't exist. New post-match screens. I am so excited for this, and I've seen the screenshot, and oh, it's beautiful. We're adding 2 post-match screens in this update. The first screen, this is the first is a screen that will allow you to add players after a match. Why not start grouping up with teammates that you enjoyed playing with after a great game? The other new screen is a post-match statistics screen, allowing you to dive deeper into those juicy statistics from your last match. 2 things that I've been dying to get. I want to add people that were cool. I want to report people that were losers. They don't mention that you can report, but I assume you can. And post-match stats, which is great. So as you can see here, there's actually more detail on this screen than most games provide. So you can see we have combat, damage dealt. I assume like tanking or defense will be down here. Damage received, I guess. So you can see KDA. Revenant went 24, 5, and 7. It shows the longest killing spree and the largest multi-kill. Most games don't show this, which is very interesting. This team got destroyed. It's 45 to 13. And then you see we got damage dealt, physical damage to heroes, magical damage dealt, true damage dealt. Oops, sorry. That's interesting that they specify physical and magical damage. That's very, very cool. That's very interesting. Oh, I was gonna say, how did Gideon do 455 physical damage? All autos are physical. And then here's the other post-match screen, where you'll be able to add people, and I hopefully report. So there they are. Very cool. Very exciting. Weekly leaderboards. Each week we'll be sharing a leaderboard showcasing the top 100 players. Initially, this will be shared on social media, but as we continue to develop the future, we plan to integrate it directly into the game so that players can easily compare their rankings with others. To qualify for the leaderboards, players must complete a minimum of 10 games per week. So I'm not exactly sure how this is being gauged, if it's win percentage, like if the top 100 players all play 10 games and win those 10 games. So sorry, if 100 players play 10 games and win all 10 of those games. But I play 30 games and win 29 of them. Does that mean I am not top 100? Does that mean I would be like, 101? Interested to see how that works. End of match survey. Some people will find this annoying and not use it. I'm down. I want to support the game. I want them to let them know how they're doing. Weird that it's a 4-star system instead of a 5-star system. We are adding a short survey at the end of a match that will require you to give us some feedback on your previous game. This data will help us monitor overall and individual community responses to matches on a daily basis. Something that will help us to understand what's going on, or what's going well as what we can improve. That was just a awful sentence. We appreciate you taking the time to fill it out. So yeah, apparently we have enjoyment of the last match, the fairness of the matchmaking, and the time it took to find the match, which are, 3 good things to ask. Matchmaking improvements and bug fixes. Basically, people were gaining or losing a shit ton of MMR for no reason. People were getting put in the wrong matchmaking bracket, and were getting matched with players outside their bracket during the matchmaking process because of a bug. Nerd shit. Penalty system improvements. They have decided to change Q dodging and AFKing, or leaving mid-game, to being 2 separate things. So AFK penalties now last 14 days. It starts at 5 minutes, scaling up to 48 hours on your 8th penalty. And dodging starts at 1 minute, scaling up to 12 hours on your 8th penalty, and only lasts 7 days. That's great. I love to play a shit ton, so I'm not always checking when my friends are getting on. And sometimes I get in a queue right when they message me. Now it's only a 1 minute dodge penalty. Cool. Chat moderation update. They can mute chat individually from a ban now. That's great. So if someone wasn't being enough of a shitter to get banned, but enough of a shitter to get muted, we can get them muted now. That's wonderful. A bunch of bug fixes, or improvements, like missing sounds. A bunch of... there's a reject button on the match found prompt now. That's great too. Balance changes. Let's get into it. This is already an 18-minute video. Goddamn. A different start for Countess Jungle. It now recommends you start the blue instead of the red. She's a bad jungler. If you're not ahead, you're losing, and that's GG. Stop playing her in the jungle, please. Thanks. Crunch. Passive healing no longer benefits from damaging minions. That's good. It's just it hurts his offlane more than... I guess it hurts his jungle too, which... he's pretty bad in jungle right now. Faye. Base damage changed. On her Bramble Patch, her Q. Base damage changed from 80 up to 240 to 90 up to 230. So... yeah, we buffed the early game, but nerfed the late game, which is what we said we didn't want to do, which is interesting. Harvest Nettles, the E base damage increased from 60, get out of here, going up to 180 to now 70, going up to 210, so that's just a flat, like a base damage buff, but then the scaling has been decreased from 60 to 55. So again, more early damage, but worse late damage. Interesting. Projectile speed increased from 11,000 to 12,000. That's fair. I mean, sometimes the move felt like it was a bitch to hit because it was slower. A bit less of an issue now. Fly Trap has been pretty significantly nerfed. It's now actually escapable by distance. So it used to have to travel 1,750 units, and now it's been reduced to 1,100. I don't have a way to quantify how much of a difference that is, but it is basically now escapable. Before it almost wasn't. And then the pull delay has been increased by an extra second, or by an extra 0.15 seconds, so you have more time to go a shorter distance, which is great. I think that ult was super annoying, unless you're Chimera. Gideon. His Cosmic Red, his Q base damage increased from 90 going up to 310 to 100 going up to 340, but the scaling decreases from 70 to 65. Again, a lot more damage early game, and probably less damage late game. Though it did go up 30, so maybe it's equal. Void Breach. the right mouse button's scaling decreased from 60 to 55. Cooldown decreased from 9 seconds at all levels to 9 seconds, going down to 7. So overall, it's weaker, but you can cast it more, so then that means there's more damage output. It's fine. Sure. It just gives Gideon less burst. Howitzer. R2000 missile. His Q decreased the missile delay after firing by 0.2 seconds. Just makes the move feel better. Slow grenades, right mouse button. Total amount decreased from 16 to 11. Grenades now have a tighter formation. Base damage increased from 5 going up to 25 to 6 going up to 30. Scaling increased from 4% to 6%. They do a lot more damage, but have a smaller maximum damage, I believe. But the maximum damage would require you to walk through all the mines. And now I believe the mines will cover a smaller area. I'm okay with it. See how it feels. I feel like the mines did feel very disruptive, but let's see how they go now. Bellica. The description fixed and decreased lockout by 0.2 seconds. And then Void Drone, her E, 20% scaling now correctly applies to the damage dealt. So just basically bug fixes with her. Alchemical Rod gets nerfed from 8 to 2, or from 8 mana per stack to 4. Bloodlust gets a name change to Bloodletter. Mind Razor gets a passive rename. Astral Crystal, description now states 3 stacks instead of 4. Azure Core, same nerf as Alchemical Rod, just because they're from the same branch. Combustion gets gets a 100 mana increase. I think that's very helpful for Combustion. Lifebinder basically got a rework. Same passive though. Magical power increased from 50 to 60, so we get 10 more magical power. Lifesteal, however, is reduced from 15 to 10, and tenacity is removed. Added 10 ability haste. The recipe is changed. Removed the leech passive. New passive, a vital bond. Gain 0.5% bonus health. Ability haste per 50 magical power. Sure, honestly, I don't know if it's something about this seems weird to me, and I'm not really understanding the math behind it, but maybe I'm just being an idiot right now. Golem's Gift gets a little bit of a changeroo. Magical power decreased from 70 to 60. Ability haste increased from 10 to 20. Rename the passive. Total magical power and physical armor decreased from 40 to 30. Stacks lost per physical damage instance received decreased from 10 to 6. I don't think I'm a big fan of this. But whatever. Oblivion Crown's been changed. I'm also not sure I'm a fan of this because I liked the Rabadons just being an exact Rabadon's copy, but that's fine. Annihilate, magical power bonus decreased from 35% to 15, and it gets a new passive as well. Oblivion, your next instance of ability damage against the enemy hero will deal an additional 8% of their current health as magic damage and increase their magic damage taken by 10% for 3 seconds. Yeah, I mean, it's still going to be a late game item. I'm curious to see if, I mean, definitely 100% if you're running the, like, Gideon offlane, either the Gideon or the mid laner gets this earlier, because then you're both going to benefit from the 10%. Basically, any heavy magical damage comp benefits from this getting rushed earlier. Definitely not first item, maybe third. I don't know. I'm not big on the change. Prophecy gets a description fix. Tainted Scepter, Malice base damage per stack decreased from 6 to 5. Malice 1% magical power per stack scaling added. Viper bug fix. Leviathan has been renamed to Tainted Bastion now. And a bunch of bug fixes that are all great things. If you're curious, the link will be in the description, or you can just read the screen right now. You can pause it. And I'll scroll down to the next batch. And you can pause it. And then I'll scroll down to the next batch. And you can pause it. That's the patch notes. Thank you for watching. Bears out.
Hey, I got some of that daily Predecessor content right here. Why not check it out? But just keep it between you and me. No one else needs to know.